Are you ready for class? Welcome back to the Panic Room, everyone, and to another episode of Pax's Little Library of Horrors. So guys, I want to talk about sadness today. Today's book put me in mind of a previous episode of Pax's Little Library of Horrors, the one where we discussed the miraculous journey of Edward Tulane. And that is easily one of the saddest things I've ever read. But when I got a hold of this book that we're going to talk about today, Room for Bear, it made me really look at this crazy amount of sheer sadness that is in children's media. You know, the first thing that pops to my mind is Bambi. You know, his mother is shot. You know, these are the things that you see joked about like, oh, this was like childhood ruining, stuff like that. You know, and it really made me wonder, like, let's take a step back here and why? Why is this okay to show kids? You know, I've heard the argument that, you know, kids need to know, like, death exists, you know, loneliness, things like that. But it's almost like when you see it presented in this manner, this very childlike manner, it's like it hits different. You know, like, for my horror people, you know, we read about a lot of crazy shit, but somehow when it's animated or, you know, illustrated in a childlike fashion, it does something different to the human animal. And I think today's book is a really good example of that, because we're talking about, you know, not being accepted. And there was one line in this book that made me buy it. And when we get there, because we're going to read it today, it's incredibly short, I feel like you're going to know why this is in our little library of horrors. So, without further ado, Room for Bear. One spring, Bear came to visit, and he never left. Life with his duck family suited him perfectly. He was sure he was where he belonged. But duck houses were not built with bears in mind. Things were always a little crowded. And so you see here, yeah, he's not doing real well with the duck house. So the search for the perfect home began. It wasn't easy. What suited Bear didn't suit the ducks, and what suited the ducks didn't suit Bear. They all returned to their home by the lake, but Bear began to worry. Maybe he and his family didn't fit together. And we see, you know, just this wonderful little picture to illustrate the massive difference between the two. So essentially what we have here is an ugly duckling, right? You know, he doesn't fit in, so he goes off and tries to fit in with all of these other families, you know, and he is the sore thumb. You know, Bear is the sore thumb here. And I know you guys have seen this trope before. And I understand that it's supposed to, like, illustrate, you know, be yourself to a child. But as we go through the story, I think you guys are going to see what I mean about just this, like, other level of sadness that comes with some of these books and movies that try to go down this path. I'm a nuisance, he thought. I will go and find my own home. Nothing feels right without Bear, the duck said. So here he is. He's leaving. And, oh boy, does it just get worse from here. Here we go. Bear found a perfect cave. But somehow, it didn't feel like home. Quack, quack, he whispered to himself. Did your heart just rip out of your chest? Because it did mine. Quack, quack, he whispered to himself. Is that not the saddest damn thing you've ever heard? Like, I want to cry now. I mean, you see what I mean? Like, what is it about this sadness in a kid's book that does that? You know, like, I read books about people's entrails getting ripped out, and they don't affect me like this. I don't know. I thought it was very interesting. Bear thought of all the things he missed about the ducks. Then Bear had an idea. He got to work. When he was finished, Bear went to find the ducks. Also, look at these cute little feet. Nothing felt right without you, Bear, they said. I missed you all very much, said Bear. Come and see. I have a surprise for you. Bear had built the ducks a new house, and now they would have everything they needed. Most importantly, they would have each other. Before long, they settled into their new home, and as it turned out, ducks and bears were not such an odd match. In fact, they were the perfect fit. Okay, so we have this story with an absolutely perfect, you know, storybook ending. But that line, quack, quack, I like to have died. So it's this idea of this insane amount of sadness and loneliness. And I want to hear what you guys have to say. You know, is this, you know, something that you think should be in a kid's book? Do you think that it hits us differently as adults because of the way it's presented? You know, I would love to know what you guys think about it, because I do think it's an interesting topic, this idea of diving into these absolutely horrendous human emotions. And I know that kids, you know, we all have to learn about them. We do. But it seems like sometimes you kind of go overboard, like, you know, like shooting the deer's mom. You know, maybe, was that too much? Was that too much? Quack, quack, was that too much? I want to know. I really do. I want to know what you guys think about it, because when I read that line, quack, quack, he whispered to himself, I was like, you know, like it got me. It really did, you know, and maybe it wouldn't hit other people the same way, but, you know, I really thought that this was a good illustration of a conversation that I've kind of been kicking around the back of my head ever since I did the Edward Tulane video. And it's just this idea of kids' books going into this terrible, terrible realm of sadness and loneliness. And how do you feel about that? Because really, the jury's kind of still out for me. But please comment down below. Tell me what you think. So guys, that is it. Thank you for hanging out for another episode of Pax's Little Library of Horrors. Please, if you like this, hit like, hit subscribe. It would really help me out. And until next time, class dismissed.